Good evening and welcome to week two. Welcome to session two for week two for the subject urban governance and development management. As no students have joined so far, so I'll wait some more time, see if anyone joins, and then I'll start the session. 5 minutes now. I see only one learner has joined, but I think we should start the session for today. So, welcome to the problem solving session for week 2. So, this week we'll discuss problems related to whatever that has been covered so far in the second week of lectures. So, these are the lectures that have been covered in second week, which includes 2 lectures on people and community. So these lectures talk about how people and community can also be a part of urban governance, how they can play a role through either citizen partnerships or other different type of participation approaches. Then there has been a lecture on using land as a basic resource, or how land as a basic resource is used in managing urban governance, or how land is managed as a basic resource through our governance and management practices. Next, there is a lecture on urban environment and ecology. Again, how urban governance and development management enable us to better management the urban environment and urban ecology, or the ecological system. This lecture talks about that. Uh, Last lecture is about non-municipal urban areas, or Nagar Panchayats. So as you know that urbanization is an ongoing process. Many a times, areas which were previously rural, they later become urbanized, and they transition from being rural areas to becoming towns, and later to becoming cities. So this lecture specifically talks about what are the non-municipal urban areas, or as we previously discussed, how areas through the process of urbanization transition into census towns, which then further transition into statutory towns and then into cities, those kind of things, and how these areas are governed. So this is what has been covered in week 2 of lectures, and we discuss some questions related to these lectures. So beginning with the first question, which is land use, which is a man-made phenomenon. It can be captured by remote sensing data. Is this a true statement, or this is a false statement? Similarly, another question that might be posed to you, which is again related to this same topic, which is that land cover represents existing and natural elements, whereas land use primarily represents man-made elements. Is this a true statement or a false statement? So, as I told you earlier, also still have to go through your weekly assigned quizzes, and many of the assigned questions that you have are quite similar to the ones that were previously covered. And as I'm supposed to discuss the previously covered questions only, not the ones that are currently assigned, I'll just tell you the subject matter related to these questions. I'll tell you how to go about solving them, but I won't give out the answers. So I hope that is okay. So coming back to these questions, let us look at the subject matter related to the background of these types of questions and what you need to focus on while discussing both land use and land cover. So land cover is uh, the natural attribute or natural cover associated with any land. It can be a water body, it can be vegetation, or it can even be barren land. And sometimes the land cover is even determined by the various types of soils that are present on that particular. So anything physical, any physical attribute that you can just see and observe, that is what land cover is. On the other hand, land use is not just what you see, but what human use that element or that physical attribute on that land is being put to use for. So it can be a settlement, but what the settlement is being used for, is it a residential settlement, or is it an industrial structure? Are those roads, so kind of transportation? Is the land being used for transportation, or maybe is it a water body, or is it a green space, but the green space is being used as a park. So things like that. So again, land use is something which is the physical attribute plus additionally what function or what use we are associating with that physical land. So for example, if you talk about land cover, you can have cropland, pastures, settlements, forests, wetland, and water body. So again, all of these features are physical features that you see on a land and the physical features that you can associate the land with. So I am audible. Okay, so you see green space. Green space can be cropland, green space can be a pasture, it can be forest. There can be green and blue spaces also, like mix of green and blue spaces like wetlands, and then there can even be blue spaces like water bodies. Then there can be constructed spaces or constructed physical attributes associated with land, such as settlement. So these are all examples of land cover. Then, uh, apart from land cover, we also need to see what use that particular physical attribute is being to, and that tells us what the land uses. For example, settlement is one type of land cover, but what the settlement is being used for. For example, in this picture you see here that it is a suburban area which is largely covered by uh, residential villas or country houses. So the land on which these houses are located on, you can call them as residential land. So the use of that particular land is residential, although it is constructed land, it is a settlement type of land cover on this particular area, but the construction type or the use that that land or that constructed attribute or physical attribute on the land is being used to is residential. So you can consider the land use of this particular land as residential land. Then you can see that this is another example of settlements, but the settlements are or the physical construction in the settlement is kind of a commercial construction. So the build structure is being used as a commercial building. Thus, the land use that we associate or attribute with this type of settlement or phys- physical build structure is commercial. So again, the land on which this build structure is built on, the land use of that particular land, we'll consider it as commercial. Again, transportation, like even in this picture, there are several roads. So the land on which the road is constructed, or maybe even if there is a parking area or there are airports or other kind of similar transportation related physical structures that have been constructed which are being used for transportation purposes, we associate transportation as the land use with that particular land. Similarly, if there are industrial structures which are being used for industrial purposes, we associate the land use, industrial land use, with that particular structure. Again, there can even be non not constructed or you can say unbuilt structures associated with particular land, and it still might have some use, or we still might be using it in a particular way. So again, that particular use when associated with that particular land again will tell what the land use of that particular land is. For example, there can be an open green area which is being used as a park or just an open green space or recreational area. So again, that can have an associated land use of a park or an space or a recreational area. Again, there can be farmlands in an urban area. So, open green space which is used for farming, again, that will have a land use associated with it, which is urban farmland. Again, there can be areas which are just barren lands and which are not being used at all. So, again, if there are such areas in an urban setting, just to have a particular land use associated with all of the land which is within the boundaries of a particular jurisdiction, or within an urban area, or whatever we are discussing about, we can give the land use or assign the land use as barren land to that particular land. Again, there can be blue areas also, and we refer to them as urban water. So this is what land use refers to. So in essence, land cover is a natural concept. So whatever in nature or whatever naturally we see is present, is observable, associated with the land, that we consider as land cover, and that is a natural concept. And land cover, that is a natural concept, and land use is a man-made concept. So not only what is present on the surface of the land, but what use it is being put to, that determines what the land use of a particular area is. So that is a land concept. So I hope this is clear, and I think it's quite clear to what the answer to these two questions is. You understood that land use is a man-made phenomena or man-made concept, and it takes into account both what physical attribute is present and what the use of that attribute is. However, land cover only talks about the natural existing elements or the physical attributes present on the particular land. Right. Okay. Next question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Again, I wanted to tell a little bit more about the land use and land cover classifications. So these type of these some examples I discussed, but these are not what you can say the classifications or the nomenclature which we usually follow in a standardized system when we talk about land cover and land use classifications. So, when we talk about land cover classification system, there are different kinds of land cover classification system for different things that we follow. So, for example, there is the LCCS, which is the land cover classification system that has been developed by the FAO, uh, and these are the different classifications under uh, these are the different land cover classifications under this system, which consists of cultivated and managed terrestrial areas, natural and semi-natural terrestrial vegetation, cultivated or aquatic or cultivated aquatic or regularly flooded areas. So similar to sort of wetlands or backwaters, or even which are being used for aquatic cultivation and things like that. Then there is natural and semi-natural aquatic or regularly flooded vegetation. So that might not be used for cultivation, but again it is regularly flooded due to some kind of riverine activity or sea activity. Then there are artificial surfaces and associated areas, bare areas, artificial water bodies which might have snow and ice even, and then natural water bodies which also might have snow and ice. So if you want to further go into detail, there are again further classifications within these classifications, and you want to go into detail about how these are classified, what attributes you need to pay attention to. I have attached a link here to this classification system. So if you click through to that link, it will take you here, this page from FAO, which gives details about the land cover classification system. And if you click through this link here, take you to the nomenclature of system. So classification and legend. So it gives you detail about each different kinds of classification system, how they are classified, purpose of each of the classification, and then further details about each classification and further sub-classification, what each type is associated with, and how you can uh, look at a particular land cover and say that this is this type of land cover classification. So if you want to go into details, feel free to access this link back. Again, there is another type of classification system. So this is another example of Korean land cover nomenclature system, which is used to classify land cover as seen from a particular satellite. I think it is Copernicus. So the imagery collected by that particular satellite, then that imagery is used to classify land cover, and how it is classified. Again, there is a system for that and nomenclature for that system. So this shows you the nomenclature for the Korean land cover classification system. So again, you can see it has several levels of classification. So level 1, you have artificial surfaces, agricultural areas, forests and semi-natural areas, wetlands and water bodies, and again for each there are further subcategories. I have also attached a link to the Korean uh, land cover classification nomenclature. So if you click through to the link, it will take you to this page, which again shows you about each type of classification and what it means, what it attributes to, and again if you click on through here, it will take you to the detailed explanation of what that particular classification actually means, what can be taken, what particular extent of area it needs to have. So actually, the satellite imagery can count it as that particular land cover category. So these are kind of things that we can we are classifying different kinds of land cover categories according to different kinds of satellite systems or other systems for the system. Okay, back. Again, this is one example of Korean land cover types based on the 2006 type of classification of that the Korean system used. You can see it maps where are the artificial areas, where are the arable lands, pastures, forested lands, semi-natural vegetation, open spaces, wetlands, etc. So in this way, using the satellite imagery for a particular area, you can map what are the land cover types in that particular area. Again, pay attention that we are just saying semi-natural vegetation, or we are not saying whether it is a park or whether it is a recreational area. We are just saying that there is semi-natural vegetation. We are just saying that it is artificial areas. We are not saying whether it is residential, whether it is commercial. We are just saying that there might be some built structure here, which it is an artificial area. It is not a natural area. So that is all we talk about when we talk about land cover types. Again, when we talk about urban land use categories, there are several categories. Some example we discussed were residential, industrial, cultural or institutional, educational, commercial, transportation. There are recreational and open spaces, and sometimes water body is together with it. Sometimes water body is a separate land use. Again, there is urban agriculture as well, and services and use. So this is a general idea of how urban land use categories are classified as. But again, different kind of master plans and different kind of uh, planning documents use several different kinds of land use classification categories, and usually how they are classified you can see from the legend which is given associated with. I have given here an example of the master plan of Delhi, that is the older master plan from 2021. You can go into detail and see how different land use has been classified. I have even attached a link here so that you can go click through and go to the website where this plan has been, and you can see in better detail how the areas have been marked and how the legends have been decided. So you can see That residential also has two different categories. Commercial also has several categories, and accordingly, has been marked in the land use plan. So this is a good example to consider if you see how plans are made. Additionally, I have also attached a link to the standard that has been set by the Amrit mission for developing GIS-based master plan for Amrit cities. So if you click through to this link, it will take you to this document. It will take you to this document which gives you the detail of how GIS based master plans for Amrit city is to be formulated. And in this standard document, you'll again find that according to these standards, how land use classification should be done and what kind of regions should be used for land use classification when constructing GIS based land. So as you can see here, this is the table which gives you detail about the different kinds of road. So again, roads are not constructed as patches of land, but constructed as a line, which is a different kind of geospatial content. But again, uh, they again have their symbology according to which they are depicted in the master plan. Similarly for rail, and then you can see the legend for water bodies, which kind of legends and to be used for water bodies. Similarly, for urban land use, so for residential, what kinds of symbols are to be used for commercial, for industrial, for mixed use, for educational, health services, government facilities, public and semi-public land use, religious land use, for recreational land use, and for solid waste management, for communication systems and that associated with that, for heritage buildings and the land associated with that, for slum areas, for vacant land, for other transportation areas, other traffic related areas, and even for rural areas, green areas, agricultural lands, wetlands, wastelands, and other miscellaneous things. So this is the standard that has been set by the Amrit scheme. So, according to the Amrit scheme, if you are to construct master plans using GIS based system, so this is the standard classification system and associated regions that you need to follow for making master plans or making land use plans. So, I hope that is clear. So feel free to access any of these resources and feel free to further explore land cover and land use and how that's used in management of urban planning function and for urban governance and development. Moving ahead to the next question, which is which of the following entity is a constitutional body? Four options: development authority, a ward committee, community development society or a municipal council. So, according to the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, it introduced several type of municipality or constitution of three key types of municipality according to this constitutional act or this constitutional amendment. So this consisted of the Nagar Panchayat, the municipal council, and the municipal corporation. So Nagar Panchayat was for an area which is in transition, which is neither a rural area nor an urban area. So due to the gradual progress of urbanization, the area has now become a town. So it is neither rural area nor an urban. So that area can't just make do with a panchayat, nor it can still have a municipality. So in that case, the area has to have a Nagar Panchayat. Again, for a smaller urban area, you municipal council, and for larger urban areas, you will have municipal corporation. So these are the constitutional bodies or the constitutional entities that the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act introduced. So among these, I think it is very clear among your options which one is a constitutional body and which are not. I hope this is clear. On to the next question, which is the first Environmental Protection Act in India was introduced in the year 1986. Whether this is a true or a mistake. So, you know that the Environmental Protection Act was introduced in 1986 and then amended in 1991. I think it is quite clear when it was first introduced, and there were several rules that were enacted under this act, which include the environmental protection rules, coastal regulation zone, rules related to the coastal regulation zone or the CRZ, delegation of power to various authorities for protection, and related to different kinds of rules associated with the acts, marking scheme for eco zones or eco-sensitive zones, uh, rules for environmental clearance, for environmental acts, setting up standards for management of hazardous substances, for loss of ecological systems, manage noise pollution, to manage ozone layer depletion, and also to manage water pollution. So this is very important because these kind of acts tell you how through urban governance and through management of development in urban areas, how it can be done through different kinds of acts and rules that are a vessel or a tool for uh, urban professionals to manage and govern development and environmental regulation in an urban area. So this is a very key act tells you or gives you key or tells you about the key framework which is in place for us to use as a tool to then enact environmental protection or management of environmental resources in an urban area. So I have also linked the document for the Environmental Protection Act here. If you just click through to this link, it will take you to this page where the Environmental Protection Act and amendment is linked, and also the related protection rules are also linked. So if you go there, it will take you to the act document. So feel free to go through this document or for the exams and regulations associated with this act. Next question, it is choose the option which is not a category of urban land. And, four options: residential, transportation, biosphere reserve, or urban agriculture. So we already discussed some types of land use and it might already be clear to you which of these is not urban land use category. But again, if you have confusion, you can go back to the urban land use classifications that we discussed. Residential, we already know what is residential land use is. Again, transportation, we already discussed. Urban agriculture, also we discussed if there is farming going on urban land, we can consider that as urban agriculture land use. Again, talking about biosphere reserve. So biosphere reserves are usually not part of urban areas, as you might remember from our definition of what an urban area is. Urban area needs to have first human habitation, then a particular percentage of that human habitation needs to be engaged in non-agricultural pursuits, and again uh, the area needs to have a certain percentage or a certain density of human habitation in that. So, in itself, biosphere reserves are meant to be as protected areas that are meant for conservation of plants and animals, and they have very limited settlements of humans. So again, they do not qualify in themselves as urban areas. So it is very clear that they can't be considered a category of urban land. Again, there are categories within the biosphere reserve, like the core area, the buffer zone, and the transition area. But again, these areas are not part of an urban system. They are separate from an urban system. They might have human settlements within them in buffer zone or the transition area, but core areas never have any kind of human settlements. The buffer zone might have some human settlements which is native to that particular transition zone, might have settlements native to that particular area. But again, the core area does not have any. So again, it can't be considered an urban land. Even the settlements which are there, the people who are inhabiting, they are more likely to be associated in agricultural pursuits or allied pursuits like related to forestry and other things. So again, they do not fall under urban area. So I think it is very clear that biosphere reserves are not part of urban areas or not have of urban land use associated to them. So I hope this question is also clear. On to the next question, which is select the option which has highest level of citizens participation according to ladder of citizens participation developed by Sherry Arnstein in 1969. And you have four options: consultation, application, therapy, or partnership. So this question basically talks about Sherry Arnstein's ladder of citizen participation, which details out based on different characteristics what is the level of citizen participation happening in any kind of urban governance or governance management system. So I have also linked here Einstein's original work. So if you want to go on and consult the papers which needed out Einstein's original work, feel free to click through to this link, which will take you to this paper. So this is her original work, which is titled as A Ladder of Citizen Participation. So different levels of citizen participation has been elaborated by her as a particular ladder. So the bottom most rung of the ladder uh, represents non-participation. As we further move above, some degree of participation or tokenism is there, and the furthest we move above, the greater the participation is there. So this is how this theory explains the different levels of participation in urban governance, detailed out by Armstrong. So coming back, I'll just discuss this ladder to you. As I said earlier also, that the ladder starts from the bottom rung and it has 8 different levels of which tells how the participation can increase through certain kinds of distinctions or certain kinds of characteristics. So starting from manipulation. So in a manipulation kind of a system, there is some data or some data is there to show participation, but no real participation is there. So, for example, imagine that there are some kind of feedback systems set up, uh, which shows that a number of citizens gave their feedback, or this is the amount of feedback we are receiving every week, or this is the amount of people we consulted for this kind of decision making. But actually, it is just a number. We are just getting it out there, maybe getting the link out there where people can give in their feedback or give in their opinions. But actually, none of those feedback or opinions might be actually uh, being seen to or being used in the actual decision. So that is kind of one example of manipulation. So again, it just shows that there is participation, but in reality, no real participation of the citizen is there in the decision. Another, a next level is called therapy. So in this kind of a system, there is a perception of local need or the issue through some kind of counsel with the local people, but actually no action is being taken for any of these local needs or issues. So, for example, like I said, there might be a way to get feedback or counsel from the local people, but we are not at all at the council, so that is manipulation. So another level is that we might be looking at the feedback provided by people, or we might have face-to-face consultation and face-to-face counsel with the local people for a particular issue. But again, after having the face-to-face consultation or counsel with the people, no action is being taken uh, to actually help the people manage that particular issue or that particular problem. So just for show or just to present an act of citizen participation, we are holding sort of council meetings or maybe feedback loops, and we are seeing that what is the need or issue is there, but again focusing on that need, we are not taking any action. So this kind of non-participation is again referred to as therapy. Then there are 3 levels: informing, consultation, and placation, in which there is still some participation, but again, this participation is only limited to tokenism. The real implication of any kind of participation of citizen is not coming out, because again, this kind of participation is again for tokenism, just to show people that yes, we are trying to take care of what you want, but again, the decision making is being taken or being done by the people in power only. The citizens actually have no power over how the decisions are being. So the first level is informing. In this level, information is given via some media. It can be print media, it may be digital media, it may be through some kinds of public announcement, something. But again, information is given to the people about some problem and what decision is being made for them. But again, there is no inculcation of people's decision in that particular decision. It is just people are being informed that this is the situation and these are the decision that is being taken for that. Next level is consultation. In this kind, consultation for some particular needs and issues is being done from people. So we are getting to understand what the need or issue is there. But again, the decision that we are taking of how to solve that particular issue or how to get to that particular need, the decision for that the public body is making on their own. Again, no consultation is being taken for the decision making, only for the need or the issue. And there is also no feedback that whether the decision that has been taken, whether it is correct or not, or it is causing further problems or further issues, anything like that, that is not being taken. Only consultation for needs or issues is there. So again, that is another example of, or another level of participation, which is again a part of tokenism. Then there is placation. So placation is a level of participation in which consultation is done and fulfillment of the needs or issue is also done with the consent of people, or with by informing them, or by involving them in the decision making. But again, the entirety of the issue or the need in entirety is not solved and is not taken care of. Only some part of the whole issue will be solved or will be taken care of in order to show people that, see, we consulted you, and see, we followed the decision making that you wanted. So we are doing this small part, but again the whole issue will not be solved, uh, as the small part, as only a small part of the issue will be taken care of. So this again is a part of tokenism, which will show people that yes, we are involving you in decision making, and we are trying to solve a problem, but only part of the problem will be solved, and not the entire problem will be solved. So then application is kind of a type of citizen participation in which the public body is trying to smooth over things, trying to let the people placate the people, trying to let them know that yes, we are involving you in the decision making, and we are taking care of the problem or the issue, taking care of your needs, but in essence the problem or the issue is not really being taken care of. Further, if we move again further ahead from here, this is where the real citizen partnership starts, which is sixth level, which is partnership. In this case, citizens are considered as partners for decision making and also for implementation of the city projects. So not only they are involved in discussion of the issues and discussion of what decision is to be made, but also they are involved in how the implementation of the final solution will take place. uh, Again, the citizens are involved in that also. That is referred to as partnership. Then there is delegated power. In partnership, again, although citizens are involved in everything, uh, the final action is still being taken by the public body. In delegated power, what happens is that even some of the final action is the power to perform certain actions of the final decision that is has been decided upon. Some power is also delegated to the citizens, that they can take care of that particular part, and they have power to control certain issues or control how certain things will take place. So that is another greater level of participation, which is called as delegated power. And then there is the final level, which is citizen control. In this case, if the municipal office fails to perform the particular action to the expectation of the citizens, the office can be dismissed and a new office can even be elected, in which citizens will then have a choice of who to elect, who and who to keep in power for what kinds of action. And many a times, citizens will have complete control of what decisions are being going to be made and how they implemented and everything. So anything uh, from partnership to delegated power to citizen control can be considered as a good example of partnership. And anything lying in the tokenism is also not good, but still better than non-participation, which includes therapy and manipulation. So I hope this is clear. Uh, I also prepared some examples, but as no learners are here in the meeting, I won't be able to solve them with you. But it would have been good to solve them. But I'll just show you the example. So, for example, one example can be that there is a rubber stamp advisory committee or advisory board which is there for the express purpose of educating the citizens or community members for engineering their support. So this shows that it is just a rubber stamp advisory, so really they are not seeking any advice, it is just there for show, and they are just trying to engineer the support of the community. So although there is no support of the community, they are just trying to show that there is support. So again, this falls under the manipulation category of citizen participation and collaboration. Another example is that public funding would come and flow directly to a community organization, and that organization would have full control over how that funding is allocated. Again, you can see here the community organization has full control over how the decisions are being made, what problem is being solved, and how it will be implemented. The public authority is not in power, so this is an example of citizen control. Another example is that a citizen board or a corporation that is tasked with managing a community program rather than merely participation in a program that managed by a city. So again, this is an example of delegation in which a citizen board or corporation is delegated some task rather than merely participating. Although the program is managed by the public authority, which is the city, but the task is again delegated to the community program. So the community that is associated with managing it will get it managed by the public authority. So again, that is an example of a delegation type of citizen participation. Finally, and there is an example where placing a few hand-picked worthy community members on a board of community action agency. They are not accountable to a constituency in a community, and the traditional power uh, uh, power elite hold the majority of the seats. So again, you can see that this is an example of plagiarism. That although their needs are being discussed and even the decision making is being done in consultation with the members of the board, but the board is not a representative of the entire community, so they will only solve a particular set of a problem which is represented by the board. It doesn't solve the entire problem, but only one part of a problem. So that is an example of a application. So I hope these examples were helpful in better understanding what the Einstein's ladder for citizen participation is. To the next question. So the next question is, according to 74th Amendment Act of the Constitution of India, Nagar Panchayat refers to what? A village, a city, small town, or a municipality. So again, Nagar Panchayat is associated with an area which is neither urban nor rural. It refers to a small town. So some area which has transitioned from a rural, or it is in the phase of transitioning from a rural to an urban. Again, you can go back to this paragraph from the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, and I think that will make it quite clear what answer to this question is. Moving on to the next question, which is choose the option which is not a function of urban local bodies under the 12th schedule of Constitution of India. So as you remember, we discussed in last session also that 12th schedule of the Constitution of India gives you details about what are the functions that are delegated, or the power to perform those functions is delegated to urban local bodies according to uh, uh, according to the Constitutional Amendment Act. And a part of that constitutional amendment is the 12th schedule, which outlines which are the functions that the urban local bodies should perform. And These are the functions which include urban planning, regulation of land use and construction, planning for economic and social development, construction of roads and bridges, uh, providing water supply, providing public health and sanitation, providing fire services, taking care of urban forestry, safeguarding weaker sections of the society, slum improvement or slum upgradation, elevation of poverty, provision of amenities in the urban area or in the area of the ULB, promotion of culture, education, and aesthetics, provision of burial grounds, provision of cattle ponds and animal welfare services, maintenance of vital statistics, provision of amenities, and finally regulation of slaughterhouses and tanneries within the urban area. So these are all uh, the functions that are associated uh, or that have been delegated to the urban authorities under the 74th constitutional amendment. So I think it makes quite clear that which of these functions is not part of the 12th schedule and which are. So this was the last question or last example question for today. Thank you for attending this session, and I'll wait for some more time, see if any more learners join and if they have any further questions. I'll just wait here and if there are any further questions or any doubts, I'll just solve. Uh, I waited for some time, but as there are no learners online, so I think I'll close the session for again. Speak sessions again this week on 6 p.m.